On this episode of Southall Computing, we're going to be planning a long distance trip in our non-Tesla EV, and that's coming up next. Hey YouTube, Dan from Southall Computing. Sorry about such a long time we're not posting a video here, but today we're going to go over what I did to plan a long distance trip in a non-Tesla EV. As some of you might know, planning a trip in a Tesla is pretty straightforward. The car will take you to all the waypoints with battery percentages, etc., etc. With non-Tesla EVs, it can be a little bit of a challenge. It can be a little bit overwhelming and all that fun stuff. So basically, I'm gonna give you what I did to get me from basically Connecticut all the way to Virginia. And I have to say that I definitely there we go, we're charging. Needless to say, I definitely overplanned because I saw a lot of old EV charging videos and definitely made my stress levels go to a little bit of an extreme. And the intent of this video is basically to hopefully make that whole trip planning process a little bit easier. I mean, I literally drove myself crazy trying to plan this route, not to mention that I think I went a little excessive with the whole route planning as well. So I think I got it to what I consider an easy way of planning the route and what to look for. So without further ado, let's head over to the laptop and show you what I did. Okay, so we're on the laptop, and a couple of things here. Number one, obviously you don't need to do this on your laptop. You can clearly do this on your phone. Number two, I mean, this is just the way I did it. I drove myself a little crazy with the whole range anxiety thing. It is a little bit of a thing when doing long distance trips, and again, because I hadn't done it before, this was just all brand new to me, so I overthought a lot of this process. So at the end of the day, this is what I chose, my opinion. This is what I feel moving forward I'm going to end up doing anytime I need to plan a long distance trip in my EV. Now, step one. Basically, I wanted to go to a website that's called A Better Route Planner, and we'll show you why in a second here. So I quickly just type that in on the top. Okay, side rant here. Clearly into this Bing search, I put A Better Route Planner. And right off the gate, OptimoRoutes.com, GetJobber.com. Like, seriously, people, I clearly put A Better Route Planner, but this is why I never use Bing. The Google search engine is clearly way better than anything else that's out there. But anyway, I digress. A Better Route Planner, hallelujah, the third option from my actual thing that I typed into the search engine there. Go ahead and close that search tab. All right, so first thing on your phone or laptop, you clearly want it to know your location. Say allow. So again, I'm not going to log into my account because I don't remember what settings I set, and we're going to go over this together. So I just allowed the browser to look at my location, which is fine. You don't have to do that when it comes to this. You could clearly just put in your starting point. But the first thing we're going to do here is selecting your vehicle. So I'm going to click on that. And I have obviously a Chevy Bolt, and I'm lucky enough to have the upgraded capacity battery for my 2017 Chevy Bolt. So I'm going to click on that guy there. So at this point here, you're going to be basically putting in what you want to do for your starting point. So I'm just going to say my starting point is going to be New Haven, Connecticut. And it clearly shows up right here. And for my destination, I don't know, let's just do like Richmond, Virginia. And there you go. Now, clearly this was not my route, but it's actually a little further away where I actually stayed in Virginia. But basically one would just think, okay, that's it. Let me hit this little blue button and plan out my route. Now, mind you, this will take a few seconds to generate the route due to your car and all that fun stuff. Okay, so once it compiles all the information, right away you see that the entire trip is going to take 8 hours and 48 minutes, a total of 423 miles. And obviously the driving portion here is going to be 7 hours, 28 minutes with approximately 1 hour and 20 minutes of charging 2 times. When I saw this, I was a little concerned because, for example, on the second stop that they have here, well, actually, I should go over what we're seeing here. So this is, if I was to leave right now, this is giving actual times and whatnot. But as you can see here, you can see the first stop, and it says that basically you're going to be charging for 33 minutes. Your expected battery is going to be at 23%, and it's assuming that you left at least with 90%, and you need to charge to 65% while you're there for 33 minutes. You get back on the road for another 2 hours and 19 minutes. You get down to 10%. Charge up to 70%, and lastly you get to Richmond with pretty much 10%. So unfortunately on YouTube I saw a ton of old videos of like people trying to plan their routes before half of these DC fast chargers were even a thing. So my biggest concern is getting to destinations with only 10%. Another thing that I saw that was in the back of my mind is every single stop, what do you do if the charger's not working? I wanted a little bit more of a buffer and what I could do for like in the instance of broken chargers. Over here on the, what is that, triple bars, I went into here and this is what I did. So this menu here is basically the advanced settings where you could actually tweak a little bit. For example, you could say your state of charge when you left was at 100% battery, but 90 is fine. And this little slider here, basically you're determining what's your parameters of getting to your destination, you know? And obviously dead center is the quickest arrival, which probably most people want to use. But let me show you the 2 settings that I changed to give myself a little bit more peace of mind when I actually went to go plan my trip. If you scroll up to the top here, there's this little slider for advanced settings. I'm going to hit that. And what you should also know is traveling anything over 65 miles per hour, you're going to spend more energy of that battery pushing against the wind while you're driving. So your aerodynamics efficiency just plummets after 65 miles per hour. But I know what you're already saying. Most people don't travel at 65, and that's fine and dandy. And this is technically why I made these 2 adjustments to the advanced settings here. So if we scroll down, and right away, the first thing to alleviate my stress about arriving at a DC fast charger and potentially not working, I went to chargers and networks, and I said the minimum amount of charger stalls, I changed it from 1, which is a little bit concerning, and I changed it to 4. So the probability of having 4 broken stalls at one location, I mean, that puts my mind at that much at ease. The second thing I did was I went to battery and I changed 2 of these settings here. Destination, arrival, state of charge. So when you finally reach your final destination, it leaves you at 10%. I am not comfortable with that. I would want a minimum of probably 15 to 20. So in this scenario, I'm just going to say 20. And then also what your state of charge is going to be when you arrive at your DC fast chargers along the way, like these 2 guys here. So I'm going to put that at 20 as well. Okay, so important side note here. And again, this applies for all EVs, not my Chevy Bolt. I mean, every single EV that's out on the road. Your car's going to charge the fastest from 0 to 80%. And it's basically to help maintain the longevity of the battery here. Charging over 80% is not recommended because it's pretty much going to take you the same amount of time to go from 80 to 100% as it went from 0 to 80, if that makes sense. So I'm going to say it one more time. Charging your EV from 80 to 100% is not worth it. It takes the same amount of time to go from 0 to 80. And just let that sink in. And that's one of the things that, you know, I've always heard in the background, but it never really made sense to me until I actually took my long range trip here. It's just totally not worth it unless you absolutely need the additional mileage to get to your next checkpoint. 20, and we set a minimum stalls of 4. Let's see if our route actually changes now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the upper left-hand corner here. Now I'm going to hit the big old blue button, and let's see what happens. Now look at this. We actually have a 3rd stop that got included. But again, now you're seeing the difference here, where if you left your house at 90%, your first DC fast charge station is going to be at 43% to 60. You're going to get to 20%. Then you're going to get to your second stop, charge from 20% to 69%. Nice. Lastly, you're going to get to the final DC fast charger, 20% to 67%, and it will get you to your final destination to 20% state of charge. Okay, so you think that's it, right? Not for me, Mr. Worst Case Scenario here. So now that you have your destinations, the next thing I did to give me additional peace of mind is this. So for non-Tesla EVs, the biggest issue that I'm hearing, although it didn't happen to me, is basically finding yourself at a quote-unquote DC fast charger and it's not working. I mean, if you're in a Tesla, obviously it's going to tell you which ones are working and which ones aren't. But the last thing you need to do is get to an EV fast charger and find out that the silly thing is broken. And regardless of me putting 4 stalls, granted the probability of all 4 stalls not working is, less and less and less with each one. But I still want that additional peace of mind of knowing what's the latest information at that location. So the second thing to do to solidify that you're not going to have any issues when you arrive at the DC fast charger, the next best thing you should do is look it up on the app/website called PlugShare. So in this example, this Walmart 3070 from East Brunswick, New Jersey, and actually type in this location and get the latest information from that particular stop. Okay, so on the plugshare.com site/application that you may have on your phone, first thing you want to do is this. Go to the settings here, the triple bars. We're going to click on that. Now, one would think you just uncheck the Tesla adapter, but unfortunately, they'll still give you the results. So you need to scroll down a little further here. And we want to uncheck the superchargers because we obviously can't use those, and leave everything else. So now go ahead and close it. And I'm going to copy and paste the location from our Better Route Planner here, which was the Walmart in East Brunswick, New Jersey. And basically, what do we see? So once PlugShare comes up with its search results, you want to head over to the list, and you're looking for the orange icon, which is this one here, which signifies a DC fast charging location. These green ones are basically level 1, level 2 charging locations, these guys here, which we do not want for a long distance trip. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this guy here. This is the location that we'll be stopping at. Now, what you're looking for is this rating right here, an 8.9. You don't want to see any low rating. That tells you right away that there's a possible issue with that charging location. And if you scroll down a little further, you're going to see the latest check-ins. So here we are on June 30th of 2022, and you have check-ins from yesterday, and these guys are reporting everything is good. What you don't want to see is red X's and reports that essentially tell you that the DC fast charge location is not operational. So that's how you will get a clear indication whether or not it is currently up and running at that DC fast charger. So basically, you just want to do this with every single stop along your way just to make sure that there are no issues at those DC fast charging locations. And that's pretty much it. I mean, basically, once I had a Better Route Planner properly configured to my specifications, I had my stopping points, looked them up on PlugShare to give me a little bit more peace of mind. I have to say that my entire trip went off without a hitch. Hey there, slight interruption from Future Dan. I completely forgot the last thing that you absolutely should do before leaving on your trip. And really quick, it's basically like in this example, it's only Electrify America locations that would be stopping at, is to download the app to your phone and create an account and attach a credit card to your account. Basically, this is in the event that the card readers on the actual charging stations, if they're malfunctioning, you could activate the charge session through the app on your phone. Pretty much my journey to Virginia, that's all I did was open up the Electrify America app and initiate the charging session from there. Didn't have to type in any credit card info. I basically plugged in the cable into the car, turned on the session through the phone, and within 25 seconds, the car was automatically charging. And pretty much, let me show you exactly what I have on my phone as far as charging apps. As you can see, there's quite a few. I basically wanted to create a bunch of them now to get it out of the way, just to make sure in the unlikely event that the credit card reader was not working at the DC fast charging station, that I'd have some way to initiate the charge. All right, so sorry about the interruption. I can't believe I completely forgot about downloading all the necessary charging apps that you'll need on your phone, creating the accounts, and linking your credit card info to them. So this way, it's one less thing that could go wrong when it comes time to DC fast charge. Back to previous Dan, who is pretty much trying to finish up this long video. See ya. So the last part of this, basically I just wanted to say I did not use a better route planner when I was basically navigating to all these DC fast charging locations. I would basically type in Walmart into Google Maps and use Google Maps to get me to each charging location along the journey. For me, it's just a matter of preference. Google Maps has never steered me wrong, especially when it comes to traffic and redirecting me around a possible accident and all that fun stuff. You could clearly use a better route planner if you're more comfortable with it. For me, I've just always been an enormous fan of Google Maps when it comes to navigating to areas that I've never been to. Again, this is just my preference on how I actually plotted my course down to Virginia. There's other, YouTubers out there. For example, the one that comes to mind right away is News Coolum, where he actually just uses Google Maps to get to his location and use the, I believe is an add a stop feature. And when he gets time to start charging, he just basically says, hey, Google, take me to the nearest DC fast charger. Okay, so that pretty much wraps it up. I mean, again, this is just my opinion. In hindsight, I did a ton of other things to quote unquote possibly plan this route, but now knowing what I know, this is exactly the protocol that I'm going to be using for my next quote unquote long-range trip in my EV. Hopefully you found this informative. As always, I tell people, if you like what you see, please give this video a big ol' thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, join our forums. It will be greatly appreciated. Once again, this is Dan from South Hawk Computing, and as always, until the next time.